All right, welcome to Audiotool here. We're going to go ahead and get started with how to build a track here in your timeline made up entirely of loop samples. So over here on the far right, you have devices, samples, and presets. Come over to your samples. Um, right here it says all. That gives you all the different types of samples. Then there's loop samples. This is that little circle there. And then you have this little icon here. These are one-shot samples. On the loop samples, you can hit this little icon next to the blue dot. So here we go. Nice little snare drum roll. Loop samples are typically a little longer. They're typically maybe 2 to 8 bars, sometimes 16 bars. Let's hear a few different ones. Now that one you can see it's 1.0 bars. That's only 1 bar long. Okay. So we have a 4-bar guitar there. Got 2 bars of a Rhodes piano. So lots of different loop samples here to play around with. So how do you bring these in? Well, we could click and drag them in as one way. You can also drag them straight onto the timeline as well. And you see that put it in the same track. So the advantage to one versus the other is if you drag it into the timeline, it doesn't create any icon up here. If you drag them onto your workspace, then you get this little separate mixing synthesizer for it. And so typically putting it under the workspace can be a little more helpful, though you may run out of channels because you only have 16 on your little centroid here. So you could always pull in another centroid if you need more. And if you drop in a second one, what you'll see is that it actually connected in, like in this case it connected into channel 2. I could rewire that though if I wanted. I could take my little sample that I created earlier, I could put it in channel 2. And then the output for this one, I could put it in channel 1. So you can rewire things as well. That's something you can do. So we have right here, I'm going to expand out my samples. We had a short little intro, that snare roll, and then we have some drums here. Come up here, I'll hit stop, brings my timeline back to the beginning where it already was. Right. Well, I like that, except for I wanted to hear more of this drum sample. So it got covered up a bit. And look at that. It could be much longer. It could be a full 8 bars long. So, like I said, that's the disadvantage of putting things into your timeline directly. You have a little less control on them. Okay. We'll delete this one off here. Let me hit stop up here. So now I have my full snare drum line there. I can double click it to make that disappear. Go back to my samples. Let's see. Was this our little... Ooh, I like that one. Okay, let me pull that in. Now you see, if I put them in here, now you get the second track that shows up. And I can put this wherever I want. Well, I think it looks like my audio, you can see the waveform here on this very first one. It rolls up until about measure 5. So it has 4 measures, and then on measure 5, it does something different. So I can take advantage of looking at that sound wave and know, okay, well, I think I want my drum loop to come in right here. And I'll probably extend this out a bit more too, because that's only a 4-bar loop. So maybe I'll extend it out so it's a full 8 bars. And then we can check it, make sure it goes together, make sure it flows. Great. Okay, that's going to work. Now let's find something that can go on top of that. I'm just going to play around. Okay, that guitar right there, let's try this. I have no idea if this is going to work. I've never tried this combination before. That's the fun part about this program. Every time you try something, it's something new or different. If I don't want to have to listen to that snare roll, I could go right to measure 5 here and listen to it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. I could also have that drop in 2 measures or a measure later, depending on what I want. And I could also make that section there loop. So if I want it to extend out, sounds like to me that we need to have that extend out just a little further. So that way it ends on. Okay, so I just used a little gap of space here. So that's something that can be really, really useful when you're creating music here, is not having everything always play all the time. So let's see here. I'm curious if this works. If I come back here to my original one. Oops. Nope, that didn't do what I wanted it to. That's okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this sample here. I want to use this a little more. So I'm going to hold down my control button and make a copy of it. I'm just going to click and drag it here. Here we go. Oh boy, I'm already all the way up to 20 measures long. So you get this effect here. A nice little break in the sound really helps fill that up. Okay, let's find some more interesting stuff here. Here's some hats. I assume this means hi-hats. Let's see. That's all right. That's all right. Ooh, yeah, okay. I can work that. I'll pull that in. Let's see where we want to add this. Let's add it in right after that little break that we have there. Cool. Okay, I like it so far. At this point, see, that's the beauty of this, is I could really change up the whole style in here. There's all sorts of fun things that we can do at this point. This gives you an idea of what we can do with a simple little audio track. See if you can layer at least 8 bars worth of tracks. I would recommend somewhere between 8 and 16 measures. Though you could go longer if you needed to. I want to go shorter than 8 though. And see if you can layer, 3, 4, 5 different tracks. See if you can make sure that they're not all playing at the same time. If I had all these things playing at the exact same time, it might sound a bit chaotic, and we can actually hear that right here. Let me bring this up to measure 13 if we had it all playing at the same time. Okay, well, it's getting a little chaotic. I don't particularly care for it. I could do something like this, though. Kind of leading up to that little break. it's just sometimes more doesn't mean that it's better. Sometimes you less becomes more. I would like something else at the very beginning of this though. I wonder what we could add in here that might make this sound a little different or a little more enhanced. Um, let's see what else we can find. So we got 4 bars right there. That might work. Let's try that at the very beginning. Okay, yeah, I do like that, but I made a mistake. I would like to have that be its own track so that I can control the volume independently. So I'm going to pull that over. There we go. Now I have independent volume control on it. And I'm going to try a kind of special effect here. I'm going to try recording something with this live. So here's the one I just brought up. I'm going to bring my everything into the left ear here, and I'm going to hit record. Good. And so what happens is when I hit record and then made a live adjustment, you see I have a little blue box that showed up around it, and I had this little waveform that showed up down here. So here's what happens now. And what I did is I had it pan from the left ear to the right ear. Nice. Okay, I like that. Now this last track here, I want to find out which channel I put it in because I need a little more bass sound out of it. It just sounds a little too weak. So it looks like it's in this channel here. What channel is that? That's channel 6. I'm going to kick up my bass on that one just a bit. Actually, maybe quite a bit. Now there was a little problem in there. I started noticing a couple little red dots that popped up. Too much volume coming through. As much as I wanted to kick that volume up, I kept changing it down to low. It increased the overall here. So what I was watching for at the end there, I did adjust my volume down on my master on my Centroid just a little bit because up here I was seeing a little red peaking. I could adjust the overall master volume here as well. That would certainly work. In addition, this will have a similar effect. Anything you change on that master switch there is similar to changing this one here. This one, the default is at -3 decibels, so which is good. A lot of dance music, you don't really want things to get above -3. Let's say we're trying to do this for TV, you might not want to ever get above -12 or maybe -9. So different, depending on your medium that you're producing for, whether it's TV, radio, podcasting, you'll have different decibel thresholds of how loud you want your audio to come through. I should mention you can save as you go along. And we give this, I don't know, we'll call this an intro because this isn't really a complete song. You can give it tags. I could give it a little album cover, things like that. Down here, I can allow others to remix. I can allow others to download as well. So I can save that. I usually like saving before I try to publish something because in case something goes wrong, sometimes Audiotool has little glitches when you go to publish it. And I just want to have that reaffirmation that it's been saved. So I'm going to hit publish at this point. some devices are not used, so we could delete those extra devices. So like that extra centroid that we had, we didn't end up needing it. Also, there's something else before I publish. At the very end of my timeline, I just pulled my timeline bar all the way to the very end. There's this little white flag here, and I can bring this back because I really don't need that all the way down at the end. Because what will happen is if I go to publish my song, it would have published like 100 measures worth of music. I'm only looking for it to publish up through measure 21, it looks like. So let's go ahead and publish it now. And you just want to be patient with it as you're going along here. I'll hit publish here. It's going to render off a whole bunch of things. I'm working on a pretty fast computer right now. Oh yeah, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you get little glitches. Sorry, something went wrong on our side. That's okay. You can reload it. And in this case, I do want to point out that Audiotool actually failed to work for me, but that's okay. Go ahead and you try again at a later date. In this case, when I was making this video, it just so happened I caught them while their servers were down. So if you do get that little error message, it's okay. Just load it up, try it again. And then when you do that, you'll be able to go to your tracks there on the main page. And in your tracks, you'll be able to see anything that you publish in this section. All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create loop tracks inside Audiotool using the looping samples.